The Writer's Life again. Uh, Writer's Life Redux. Writer's Life Douay. Or in my case, Writer's Life #2.
There you go.
Double entendre. Subscribe and all that crap. I don't have to go through it again. I just did a half an hour ago. But Troy has shown up. Not Troy Aikman, but Troy Silence of the Lamberts. I hope that's all right when I do that, Troy.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. It works well. That works well.
And the Lamberts lie down on Broadway. So I thought about it. I was like, if you and Kristen Lamb got married, she'd be Kristen Lambert.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird. Yeah.
It would be, but it'd be funny.
Yeah, her husband would probably also object, but
Oh yeah, you'd have to work that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minor issue. Yeah.
So I have one question for you.
Yes.
Troy is a best-selling author. He writes everything. He is so much more knowledgeable when it comes to the nonfiction game, when it comes to the fiction game, when it comes to all these games, and that's why he is. I say it all the time. He's der Führer of the Idaho Writers Guild. No, he's the king. He's the god. He knows all, and some of the stuff you do, I don't even understand. But I do it because Troy and I work together sometimes, and he'll edit me, and sometimes when I hand something in, I'll be like, I don't know, even know if I'm doing this right. I have no idea, but somehow I'm doing it right. Either that or Troy's just like, you know what, this fucking Vin, I'm just going to correct it rather than
I'll just fix it for him.
I'll just fix it for him because it's not worth my effort to get him to do it right because he'll never get it right. But anyway, it's December 5th, I believe, right?
Yep.
So I got to ask you, predictions.
Oh.
What do you see happening in 2024? And you don't have to get into the weeds or anything like that. But if I said, what are 3 major things you think are going to arise in 2024?
I think we're at an interesting stage in publishing in general. I think that we have gone through the gold rush stage,
right,
where you could just publish lots of content and keep publishing lots of content. It still works for some people, but it's just not going to keep working for everyone.
Right.
And so I think that gold rush era is ending. And so for me, what I believe, and some of the people I talk to regularly believe, is that we're headed into the golden age of publishing. And what that means is you will have more choices than ever as an author for how to publish your work and distribute it to readers. But the good news for readers is they will also have more choices than ever about where to buy books, where to get their reading material, how to read it on their phones, on their computers, whatever devices they may have. So I think there's just going to be more options for everyone in general. And I think that's a good thing. We're moving out of the Amazon rules all age and moving into we have choices that are other than big tech. We're not slaves to big tech anymore type age. And I think that's where we're headed, honestly. And so next year, I think, if I had to name 3 things, I'd be like, the first one is I think direct sales of authors selling their books directly to readers is going to, that's going to become one of the ways that people get books. It's just going to become a thing. It's going to be one of the ways that people get books. And
now,
I think that's smaller.
When you say direct sales, do you mean just strictly off your website or like off of platforms like Patreon, Spotify?
Well, strictly off your website, although I would probably include Patreon and things like that in that mix, because the way people are going to find that is through your website, generally speaking, or through Kickstarter, things like that. But I guess what I mean by direct sales is the reader comes to the author on whatever platform to purchase their books. They're not going through Facebook or Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Apple Books or whatever. They're coming directly to the author and getting the book one way or another. Right. And there's a number of ways that can work. And but readers are becoming more and more savvy about stuff like that. And so are authors, frankly. We're just doing a better job of distributing our books, and
Right.
readers are doing a better job of being able to find them.
Right.
And so I think, but I also think that is going to be limited by you as an author need to have a lot of books to offer to make that
Right.
work. Um, and if you have a solid group of readers that follow you, that will also help.
Right.
So for readers, hey, come buy books directly from the author. It's first of all, it's where the author gets, you cut out the middleman. The author actually gets the most profit, so we can actually sell our books cheaper if we sell them to you directly. And you're not supporting. When we say support a small business by supporting a local author, I'm no longer saying also support Amazon by buying my books there, because that's
Right.
kind of a disconnect there, right? I'm saying support a small
Right.
business by actually coming to my website and buying my books. So
Are you getting the feeling, because I am, are you getting the feeling that people are more and more turned off with the whole concept of Amazon at this point?
yes, I think Amazon sales. So Amazon used to be the gorilla in the room that none of us authors wanted to tick them off, and we didn't really
Right.
want to talk about them too much because hey, nobody wants to be delisted on Amazon.
Right.
Amazon is your lifeblood, right? But it's
Right.
getting to the point where they have less and less of the market share for books, and readers are turning to other places to get their
Right.
books. And a part of that is, as authors, our shift is we have to stop always by default sending people to Amazon to buy our books,
Right. I still
because
do it.
that's what we've been doing forever. I still do it. I'm still guilty of it. I'll post an Amazon link instead of a book linker link that has the links to all my books in all the other places where they
Right.
are,
Right.
or
Well,
as opposed to selling it on my website. And part of that's a transition for us
right.
authors.
Right.
We have to make changes to make that work.
Right.
But it's also just that mentality of we've been forever where most of our money comes from Amazon. And I think we're past that stage now, and we're to the point where our money is going to come from other locations, and we need to tap into that.
Right.
You
I
know.
mean, I'm an Amazon affiliate, so I feel compelled to use their links.
Mhm.
But for a measly 12 to 15 bucks a month, like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
It isn't. So what would you suggest we start using as links? Just
So
our
there's
website?
your website is one, or there's a few like universal book link programs, books
Right.
to read, book linker, Linktree, things like that that allow you to put links to several different retailers in one location. So
Right.
when the reader lands on that page, instead of automatically going to Amazon, they can choose. And one of the choices is still Amazon. I'm not taking my books away from Amazon,
No.
but I'm saying Amazon is not the only place to get them. So
Right.
I'm creating links that allow readers to choose, where do you want to read this book, including do you want to order it directly from my website? And
Right.
eventually, some over the next year or so, I think for a lot of authors, the cheapest place to buy their books is going to be their website.
I think so
That's
too.
that's the cheapest place to buy them. You're welcome to buy them from other retailers, and in some cases, I mean, I buy books from Amazon because it's easy.
Right.
I buy them; they appear on my Kindle, right?
You have an
But
account there, and yeah.
yeah, but I don't. If they were dramatically cheaper somewhere else, I would buy them somewhere else.
Sure.
I would easily take that chance, and I bought books directly from authors for that reason. Is
Right.
they're cheaper to buy them through their sites. Also, we can do more creative things. We can offer, book bundles that you can't create those book bundles on Amazon, but you can create them on your own website. Of
Right.
like, here's all the first in my series, so pick a series that you like and
Right.
follow it from this pile of books that I'm going to give you, that
Right.
type of thing.
And I
So
mean, do the math also. I mean, with Amazon, you're getting either 35% or 70%, which we used to think at the time, 10, 15 years ago, we're like, wow, that's amazing. Now,
pretty good.
instead of having to
Yeah.
sell, 1,000 books a month or whatever to make a buck, now we only have to sell dozens or whatever. Now it's, if we can go directly from our website, that even, you get it just
Yeah.
pretty much 100%, so,
Yeah. Other than credit card fees, 2,
right.
3%, whatever it is you're paying your processor, which at that point, I mean, in some ways that doesn't even matter, but you can eventually even reduce those costs. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But like,
Sure.
regardless of what, even if you're paying 5% compared to 30% on Amazon, that's a really good deal, which means I can take my book that's on Amazon for 5.99 and I can price it for 2.99 on my website and make the exact same amount of money. And the
Right.
reader spends $3 less,
Sure.
for
Uh,
the same book. So
yeah.
not that that's a recommended pricing strategy. Don't anybody get in, you know what I mean?
No, no, this
So,
is not financial
but
advice, anybody. This is you do
yeah,
what you want to do,
this is
whatever
just,
works for you.
this is just using simple numbers to give you a simple percentage, you know what I mean? But I mean, uh, uh, I think this is a direction that things are going for authors and for readers, is just more distributed, more places to get books, more places to find
Sure.
books. And I think for writers and for readers, this is going to be a matter of, like, we're going to have to research and reevaluate what's happening now, adjust our strategy, then we're going to have to research, reevaluate, adjust our strategy until we reach some kind of new normal. And I
I
don't know
think
what
so.
that's going to look like for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is going to be a year of change for sure.
I believe it's going to be a year of transition, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, this is going to come up, the role of AI. You and I were speaking of it's inevitable that the AI technology is going to give us the tools we need to translate our books
Hmm.
accurately, um, along along words, sentences, paragraphs, and language lines, and along cultural lines, which is very
Hmm.
important for a transition, or rather for a translation. Um, it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen next year or the year after, but with AI improving exponentially every single second, nanosecond, um, when that happens, when it finally happens that we can take, say you and I have 200 books apiece at that time. Um, I can't imagine we will have to hire somebody to do this for us to take care of the
Hmm.
transition, because it would be like 10 or 12 languages. Each book will
Easily.
be available. Yeah, and we'll have to get new covers and all that sort of. It will, but what a boon that will be to us. I
Oh
should
yeah,
think.
it's a huge boon. And the other thing that is going to happen, and is that AI narration is a thing legitimately now for creating audiobooks. Now, what I fully believe is that there will be two categories of audiobooks at least. And those categories will be, this is the digitally narrated one, which is the equivalent of the audiobook paperback, right? This is AI narrated, it's digitally narrated, and hey, it doesn't really matter because what I really want is the content, right?
Right,
And then there'll be the production audiobooks that's produced by a narrator. It's got all the music and the cool sounds and
right.
and the voices and all that kind of stuff. And that'll just be the next more expensive tier of audiobooks. So I may have two audiobooks of a lot of my audiobooks, and the first tier may be the AI generated one, and that's the cheapest version.
Right.
And almost anybody can buy that. If you're listening to audiobooks on 1.5 speed or 2 speed anyway, how much does the narrator's voice matter to you?
It
You know
doesn't.
what I mean? Whether
Right.
that's human or not. But there will be people that want those human narrated, those really cool production audiobooks, and that'll be the hardcover of audiobooks, and people will pay more for those.
Sure.
That is going to happen this year.
That makes
That is
sense.
going to happen.
Yep.
You know.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm already heavily reliant, and I hate to even say this as a person who makes part of his living from editing. I feel as though that my books, I don't want people messing with a content edit at this point.
Hmm.
I feel like after um, 25 years of just nonstop writing, that I pretty much, it is the way it is. This is the way I meant it to be, and you know, um, and but I'm finding that I'm getting better edits using AI than I used to get using a human. I mean, in
Hmm.
terms of copy,
In
um,
terms of copy edits,
in terms
AI
of
is
copy,
less likely to miss something.
right,
In other words,
right.
um, and so there are some great tools out there for AI, as far as proofreading and copy editing.
I mean, I still use a human
AI,
too, but
yeah, I mean, I still use a human too, but AI is changing the game in that what I hand a human now is much cleaner than what
exactly.
I handed a human, a year ago even. Because it's just, I can clean it up a lot more myself, which means they have less work to do, which means I'm not going to pay them quite as much because but also from the role of an editor, like on the editing side, what I really concentrate on now is developmental editing, which is what AI can't do.
No,
Is telling you
that's
things
right.
about your story and
Right.
things like that. And you're at the point, and like largely I'm at the point where I don't need a developmental editor,
Right, which
right?
is that I misspoke before I said content, but yes, I
Yeah,
don't want anybody giving me developmental advice at this point, unless I
right.
ask for it. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Right, because the thing is, a couple things. First of all, you don't need it. Second of all, you write fast enough that you would have to have an editor coming behind you to keep up with you.
that's right. Yeah.
You know, so that would be a challenge. So at this point, it's not something. You and I are not unfamiliar with stories, so we're not making story mistakes. We're
Right.
making grammar mistakes or punctuation mistakes, and
Right.
we have fantastic tools to catch those things now, and those tools are getting better and better.
Yes,
So
they
I'm
are.
not saying they're going to replace human editors, but they are, for human editors, honestly, for me, like I don't really want to do a copy edit or a proofread of somebody's thing. That's not really my favorite space. But if I can do it with the help of AI, I can do it 3 times as fast. I can charge you less money. We're
Right.
both happy,
Right.
and we both still get an excellent product in the end.
That's right.
So AI is definitely changing the world of editing. Like it or not, it's happening. Just
Right.
like it's changing the area of narration, like it or not, it's happening. And just like we were talking about, it's going to change translation. Like it or not, that's going to happen within the next couple of years at the latest.
Right.
We're going to see some AI translations that are really solid, that are way better than Google Translate.
Sure.
Um, but that catch those cultural nuances and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that at some point you're going to want to have a proofreader of that native language,
Right.
to make sure
Absolutely.
that nothing terrible
Initially, anyway.
happened
Sure.
initially anyway. You're going to
Yeah.
want to have that. But, in long term, this is going to be a solution that offers a lot of opportunity for writers to break into new markets that we would not have had before. Like you were saying, we have 10, 12 languages. I turn 100 products into 1,000
Oh,
in a matter of in a matter of probably weeks. I can
probably
turn them
weeks.
into I can turn that into 1,000 different products.
Yeah.
And
And
for me
actually,
as a
if
brand,
right, if you see it
mm,
coming, like, you know, commit to like 5 languages initially and have the covers made already to get ready
yeah,
for it. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Um,
And already this is coming, this is going to happen. And
yeah.
if you have the covers made already and you're already prepared, I
Right.
mean, the world is your oyster, really, in a lot of ways.
I
Um,
want, which is the
so
perfect segue to item number 3, and I'm going to actually give you this one. Um, how do you see the financial situation for us predominantly freelance fiction writers? Um, and of course, you can include a little nonfiction in there or whatever. How do you see our finances either expanding or contracting in 2024, 25, 26? Or do you see it? Do
mm,
you do you see us doing, especially workhorses like us? Do you see us doing better? Do you see us doing worse?
in 2024, I think it's really going to depend upon the person. So I think workhorses like us, I think we're going to be better off,
Right.
honestly. Um, People who are not prepared for the transition, it's going to be a transitional year financially. They're going to either it's going to be better because they're going to figure it out, or it's going to be worse because they didn't. So it's
Right.
essentially at this point, part of what's happening with this new, what I call the golden age of publishing, is that you must adapt.
Right.
There are no options. You must adapt. If you do not
One
adapt,
second. One
no
second, Troy.
worries.
I gotta put you on pause. Hi. I turned the fireplace on. I can't turn it off.
Okay, it's on a timer.
Oh no, I know, but I even like ziggy ziggy ziggy, whatever. And unless I'm doing something wrong,
Um,
I got a podcast.
yeah, it will turn off eventually.
I just want. It probably will. I don't want to. I just wanted to warn
Yeah, it should turn off eventually.
you. Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
ticking.
All
Yeah,
right. Thank you.
You'll be fine.
Sorry,
If
folks.
you get too
Sweet.
late, open the door.
Vince is only going to be a hot guy for a limited time.
Right. Oh, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm at the Alpine Lodge here in beautiful North Creek, New York, so that I can ski Gore Mountain. There's a plug for you.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Man, I got to come out there and ski with you. That's what needs to happen.
No, are you kidding me? I need to go out to Idaho to ski. We can
I'm telling you.
And we can have lunch at Hemingway's house. All right, so
You betcha.
Finances.
But finances, so I think really what's ahead for authors is you need to adapt to the new normal. And so if you're going to have a sustainable author career over the next probably 5 to 10 years is going to be constant change.
Right.
And so you just have to be prepared for constant change. All that means is that when the new thing comes along, you need to be ready and just do it. Just do it. Just be a part of it. The danger is kind of like when we started the gold rush era that you and I were a part of, where you could get organic traffic on social media, but you needed to be there. Right. And the writers who weren't there didn't get it. And it was interesting that some of the old guard writers were late coming to social media.
Yes, they were.
But they started to flood on because they realized without this tool, I'm not selling as many books.
Right.
That dude in Idaho is outselling me, not because he's a better writer or because he has more experience, but because he's on social media.
Right.
And so when we look at things like direct sales, the key is to be poised for it. Is it the next final answer? I don't know that it is. I don't know that something else like Amazon won't come along. But at the moment, direct sales is happening. So you probably need to be prepared to at least do some of it. You know what I mean?
I did a podcast yesterday, a solo podcast I wanted to give everybody an update on the Facebook situation because I'm still suspended.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I haven't done a hell of a lot to get it back. I even have the guy's number, and you remember it's been a couple of months, and I wanted to see how it affected sales. And so I went back a couple of months and I checked everything out, and Troy,
nothing.
It hasn't affected my sales. It hasn't helped and it hasn't hurt. Hasn't affected it at all. Whereas 10, 15 years ago, you had to have it. You had to be posting on Facebook, whatever,
If you were running Facebook ads, that would be a different story.
I'm not.
But if you're not running Facebook ads, which this is another part of direct sales that we can talk about another time, is the marketing, getting people to your website. But if you're running Facebook ads, that Facebook suspension is a big deal and can mean disaster for you, right?
Sure.
But if you're not dependent upon Facebook ads to generate sales for you, it doesn't matter. And the truth is, it's mattering less and less because the younger generation, the younger people are not on Facebook.
Right.
They're not there.
No, they're not. It's more.
So it doesn't matter.
It's more of a boomer book.
Yeah.
Right.
It's more boomer book right now, which boomers buy books. So it doesn't mean it's irrelevant, but it means for your next audience of book readers, they're not there. That's not where they are.
Right. So. And I haven't run a Facebook ad in 5, 6 years, maybe 7.
Yeah.
I just got, it was a money suck and it didn't do it. I find that, we'll talk marketing another time, but I find what's working for me is these new programs like Written Word Media is coming up with where you buy a block of whatever and you get this, you get that. They're even having promos now where it's specifically geared towards new subscribers. But again, we could talk about that on another episode.
For sure. Because the two things I'll say about marketing real quick that we can talk about on another episode is the two things you own as an author is your website and your email list. You don't own Facebook. You don't own any social media sites. So if you emphasize those two things as an author, and as a reader, if you want to keep up with an author, that's the place to do it where you're not going to lose contact because suspended on Facebook or not isn't going to matter to your website.
No, it's not.
So,
and that's what I focus on. And even BookFunnel's starting to get under my skin a little bit because I'm discovering that a lot of the readers there, or a lot of the subscribers there, want free stuff.
Yes, there's a danger with reader magnets. We can talk about that later as well, of getting a bunch of people that are freebies. What BookFunnel is good for right now, that BookFunnel has adapted to, is they have become a part of the direct distribution of ebooks platform.
Yes.
That works really, really well.
Yep.
So they've even adapted their business. The
Right.
people that used to be all about getting you new email subscribers, but they were getting it through freebies, have
Right.
adapted their business model to helping you sell books directly to readers and to
Right.
becoming a part of that process.
Right.
So they've even adapted and changed as companies on the emphasis of what they're doing.
Right. Yet another platform to propagate with books.
Yeah.
Listen, Troy, thanks so much for doing this. Where can people find you and your new book?
TroyLambertWrites.com, my website. That's the best place to start. Or you can Google me. If you can't find me when you Google me, your internet is down. Contact your provider. And once you have that backup and Google my name, you'll see my face all over the place.
All right. All right, everybody.
Uh,
Thanks for chiming in. And Troy, this has been fascinating. You're such a wealth of knowledge.
Well, thank you, man. Appreciate you as
And
always.
I'd like to have you once a month if we could. And
Oh
so
yeah, you betcha.
with
Let's
that,
figure that out.
yeah, with that
Yeah.
said, I'll see you next month. Of course,
All
I'll
right.
talk to you tomorrow. But
Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
all right, and
Thanks,
everybody
Vince.
else, I'll talk to you from the mountain tomorrow. And ciao, ciao.
All right. See you, man.